Hey everyone, today I'm creating 23 cards using lots of different embellishments from different companies. There are some stickers here from Journalsay, they are PAT stickers. There is 49 in Market, transfers, as well as their die cut and ephemera packs. I will try and put a link below to most of the things that I've used, but some of them I've had in my stash for a while, so if there is something that you can't find, then maybe put a comment below and I will see if I can figure out which pack it came from. Now, to start off these cards today, I'm using some pre-done or half-done base layers. So I do have another video where I created these base layers and created a series of cards. And these are the leftover ones where I am using my stash to add interesting embellishments on the top. Now, for me, I am not very experienced at creating cards that have this type of look and feel, and I'm not very experienced at creating kind of little clusters that look balanced. So I am trying to practice, and these ones all turned out really well. So I encourage you, just give it a go, grab the bits and pieces that you've got, put them to good use, and see what happens. You may not love all the cards, but I'm sure that you'll find some that turn out great. And the thing with cards is, pop them in the recycling if they're really that bad, or pull a piece off and change it, maybe rework it until you get something that you're happy with. Now, for these, in the previous video I did a couple of these with the frames and the back of the photographer. So I started in my safe space here when I was creating this yellow one, and now I've moved on to one of the blue. I'm finding that, in fact, I probably should tell you what I had done to prepare the bases, just in case you don't want to watch the other video. It is simply using some dye ink with an ink applicator to create sort of a messy background. And then I went through with some black ink and did some kind of mishmashy images, sort of half of an image or a little frame image or the little arrows, something that wasn't an actual character or an image to be coloured. They were more sort of shapes and styles. I've also included some embossing paste as well through a stencil, and so in this instance it's the white triangles you can see in the background. Now for this card here, I also included some of my Fibreglass joint tape. Now, I don't know how else to describe it. I will put a link below, but it is basically sticky mesh that you can see in the top right-hand corner that when you cut down into pieces adds a bit of texture and a little bit of interest to any of your cards. So highly recommend grabbing it. This was about $8, $9 Australian, just from a local store called Bunnings, but you can get them at any hardware store, I'm sure. Now for this one, you can see I'm using some of the rub-ons, and so this is just adding some interesting texture to the back, and then you can see I'm adding a couple of pieces of the mesh, and all I'm doing is I'm trying to add some interest without adding too many competing colours, and then I can just add an element over where I've got the gap. Now a lot of people that I watch on YouTube that create these style of cards, they build up and up and up on top of everything. So a lot of things get hidden behind. And I think that's really great because you see the depth and the multiple layers. But my nature is I try and save things and not waste them. So you might notice that when I'm putting things onto the card, I'm not covering it. I'm kind of leaving a little bit of a gap where I'm expecting to put my main design element. And so if that's something like a butterfly or a picture or, some kind of die cut or one of the PET stickers, whatever that is, you'll notice that I will kind of leave a gap for where I want my focal area to be, and I won't build up as many layers underneath it. So I probably should practice just building on top of things, but I just naturally try and figure out how do I use as little of my supplies as possible so they stretch as far as possible, which honestly, I have so many supplies that it's probably not even necessary. With this one, I have a series of the PET stickers that I have added to some of my spare white cardstock. And so I did that just to make sure that I didn't have a build-up of white cardstock that would get wasted. And so these little feature elements, I've got them just in a little bag, and then I'm trying to work out which cards to use them on. And they worked absolutely perfectly with this film strip, because I have lined up 3 of them, and where the film strip line goes is directly across where the 3 different pieces of the cardstock meet each other, so you can't actually see the break. It looks like it's just one long image with the 3 stickers on it. So this worked out absolutely perfectly. Now, because I really do love this mesh, I cut some at an odd angle, and I've snuck some in 2 places, one on the right, and then I put a smaller one just over the side here on the left. And you can't probably see that very clearly on the screen right now, but you can definitely see it in real life, and it does add some interest to the card. So just giving you somewhere else to look, and not quite that clean cut look of most of the cards that I tend to make. Now with this one here, I'm using a whole series of these little stickers. They are, I think they're called washi stickers, but they're very, very translucent. So rather than getting out an ink pad and stamping some more interest onto this card base, I thought that I would try just using a couple of these stickers instead. They are from Journalsay, and they come in a package of, I think, maybe 15 to 20 of them for a couple of dollars. And so I bought a couple of packs last time I put in an order, and this seemed like the perfect project to try them out. Now, in terms of balance, again, you can see I have put one at the top and one over on the right-hand side, and I've left a bit of a gap on the bottom left. I think my logic for that was that I will probably put the design element straight in that gap. And then with this one over here, I might prove myself wrong here because I can't remember exactly what I did with all of these cards, but it looks to me like I'm building to be able to put an element on the right-hand side rather than the left-hand side. And some of this comes down to just depending on how I put the first ink layer onto these card bases. The other thing to mention is, I know I talked about with some of these I've used embossing paste, and you can see kind of the little downward chevrons on the left-hand side in white, but I also put some dye ink as well. So I did some messy ink on the back of the panel, and then I used on top of that some kind of stencil, all with different patterns, and then just did a little bit of tone on tone just to add some starting interest. And then I made sure with all of these little scripty stamps or the little shapes that I've added in the background of these, that I did it in Memento ink, which is an ink that will not bleed if it gets wet. So you need to be really careful about which inks you use, especially if you're going to put paste over it or flick splatters or do anything else that's going to add moisture into the paper. You really just need to think about anything moving or smudging. Now with this one here, I've got this gorgeous little couch, and you might notice when I put it down, it caught the paper and then stuck straight away. It wasn't quite where I was intending to put it, but because it hit the paper, I didn't want to tear it. So I just put it exactly where it was. And because this is a mixed media style of card and it's a little bit loose and free, whether it was where I intended it to go or not, there's a way to kind of add some extra elements to balance the card. And I think what I learned through this process is really where you put the sentiment is an interesting thing as well. I've been trying to use birthday sentiments on a lot more of these cards where I can, because most of the people that I donate to or family and friends that collect a card traditionally would use that most frequently. But often there is a sentiment that you like that you are not sure that you'll ever have a use for that just hangs around in your stash. And I had one of those today that I used for one of these cards that ended up absolutely perfectly. And it's great when you find the perfect card for the perfect sentiment. So it's this one here where it just says the word shine. I had no idea what I was going to use that for, but it suits perfectly that card with the yellow base and then that fantastic female image on the front. Now this one here, again, I tried not to just do orange on orange, but on the couch cushions, those are orange with a green background. So it matched in with the design without having it end up being too same or matchy. So if you're not confident with mixing colors together with this style of card creation, then really the best cheat I can offer is like just use tone on tone, like make everything blue. If you put all the blues together, they actually end up looking fantastic. You kind of can't go wrong. But if you're trying to mix up with different colors and you're just not confident with it, then I would say, or you're having a difficult crafty day, then that would be what I would recommend. Now, with this little tape here, this came from 49er Market, and it came in one of their packs where you get multiple different widths of washi tape, and it is literally just a grey stripe, so it matches everything. So I have it sitting on my desk, and because I'm trying to use things up, I just thought I'm going to use this over and over and over until I run out, and then I'll move on to a different style of washi tape for the next one. So here we've got some imagery or something that's, mountains and forestry to put behind another one of these frames. And then this little sticker here is so bright and cheerful. She has really bright coloured hair, and it reminds me of sort of a kids' TV show where they would have a character that looks like that. Then this one here just has this girl with messy hair just living her best life, jumping up in the air. So that was a really quick finish for that one. I do have these series of green stickers that are green and white. I don't know what flowers these are. I'm not good with flowers, but I'm just going to call them lilies for the sake of it. Maybe correct me below if you know what these are. But they're actually mainly white, and then they have a little bit of gold around the edge of them. So they look super, super pretty on the card. And because I'm getting better at knowing what to put, normally you would potentially see me just put those flowers and leave it there. But because of this style of card, I can layer a little bit of perspective. So adding the little character on the front there actually means that the flowers are now a background and an element of interest, and the focal point has now shifted. As part of this project, I also went through and used up a whole bunch of the 49er Market ephemera, and you can see on the left-hand side of the screen there is a giant butterfly and a tag, and there's also some mushrooms, which would have been one of the transfer sheets. So I did do a whole series of those off camera, and at the end of the video, you will see I've done a really nice pan shot where you can check those out a little bit more closely. So hopefully that is helpful. Because I use white card bases, so I use standard A2 5.5 by 4.25 inch white card bases. They are nice and cheap and easy. What I'm doing here is I've just got, I think this is walnut stain. It is one of my distress inks, and I've just got this little dauber, and or dauber, I don't know what you call them in different countries, but this little finger dauber, and I'm just running it along the edge of the card. And what that means is when I put the white card panel onto the white card base, it's just going to create that little bit of separation around the edge, and there's just going to be a little bit of a line so that you can actually see the white on white a little bit more clearly and add just a little bit more interest. I am not going to have these on any kind of foam tape, so I'm not going to create any kind of elevation or anything like that. I'm just trying to make sure that it's a little bit more interesting around the edge. Another alternative would have been to maybe mat them on a really thin black layer, but that would have taken me way more time than just quickly running this around the edge, and it would have used up quite a lot of black cardstock. So this is my nice and easy way of sort of doing a little bit of layering or creating a little bit of interest without taking quite so much time. That is one of the challenges of being a bulk card maker, is actually creating all of these cards actually does take quite some time, and then I heavily edit it down and sort of walk you through not only my techniques and the process I'm using, but what I'm kind of thinking along the way, because I've had quite a bit of feedback that does help people when they're watching to kind of understand why I made a particular choice. And honestly, the reason why I picked the dark brown and I didn't pick a different color is because I knew that it would work really nicely with all of the different colors of the cards today. And I think black would have been just a little bit too stark, and then it would have, any little mist daubing down the side, I don't even know if that's a word, but if I had put too much black on, it can really mess things up. So the brown just gives you a little bit more wiggle room. If you're enjoying the video, it would be amazing if you could hit the like button. That is how YouTube knows to spread the video to more viewers. I am currently at about 4,300 subscribers, and I was thinking maybe I should target trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year. But we will see how much time I have to make some content through to the end of year holidays. All right, so I'm nearly done working through these, and the reason why I'm showing you so much of this is because I haven't shown how I make every single card. It's actually giving you a really good chance to actually see the designs that I made and maybe pick out a favorite. I will say that there is 2 of these where I did the little VW combi van, and one of them I put onto white cardstock to try and get a different look, and I did not like it at all. The thing I was concerned about is sometimes with the stickers you can see through them, so you can see the stamping behind, but I preferred that to the sort of chunky white behind where you had to really carefully fussy cut. It's a lot easier with the PET stickers to maybe cut off the shiny bit around the edge and then attach that to the card. It looks great in person. Now here you can see what I was saying earlier about the brown around the edge. It just gives that nice little finished look to the card. And as I tilt some of these, you can kind of see some of them have paste, some of them don't have paste. You'll see some of them have stickers versus stamping versus ephemera. And I'm not sure which is my favorite out of this lot, but I do like the ones where I have sort of the butterflies and the tags. So this one I really like. And then the other one where I used the word shine that had mainly yellow. I think it was mainly yellow. And there's a few of them in here that would be great for people who love things like camping and things like that. With a messy style of card like this, you really can push the boundaries of using lots of different styles and lots of different elements on it. There's ones here that, I mean, this one's literally just got mushrooms and things on it, which is kind of interesting. I would love to know if you make these style of cards. So the ones where you just spread everything out on your desk and then you try and use things up. And I think I created pretty much every card on here is unique in some particular way. They all started with the same kind of base style approach, but the color combinations and the where I place things on them had a bit of similarity, but they're all different in the end. So here's where I was saying I've done a really slow playthrough for you if you wanted to check out the cards a little bit more closely. And if you would like to see how I created the cards to start with, or that first phase, I will put a link here that I think you might enjoy. Have a great day.